Last week, I issued a proclamation for June 4th, 2021 to be Gun Violence Awareness Day in the city of Issaquah. I encourage all community members to support efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives. I'd also like to do a Pride Month proclamation as part of my report. Whereas the month of June was designated Pride Month to commemorate the Stonewall riots, which occurred in June of 1969, and are generally recognized as the catalyst of the LGBTQIA+ rights movement. And whereas City Council and staff committed to make Issaquah an inclusive and welcoming community for all, including the LGBTQIA+ community, and whereas all members of the Issaquah community, including those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex or asexual, have the right to feel safe, not to be discriminated against, and to live without the threat of violence or harassment. And whereas supporting Issaquah's LGBTQIA+ community also aligns with the city's strategic plan, guiding principles of both people and equity. And whereas the LGBTQIA+ community has made great strides, however, work remains in order to achieve full equality, inclusion, and acceptance. Whereas Issaquah is strengthened by and thrives upon the rich diversity of ethnic, cultural, racial, gender, and sexual identities of all its residents, all of which contribute to the vibrant character of our city. The month of June will be LGBTQIA+ Pride Month in the city of Issaquah, and I encourage all residents to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists, respect the rights of all people, recognize the contributions and achievements of the LGBTQIA+ community, and to celebrate the great diversity of our city. I'm also going to be making a Juneteenth Proclamation this evening. Whereas Juneteenth recognizes and commemorates the day of June 19th, 1865, when enslaved African Americans in Texas were informed by Major General Gordon Granger that they were free, ending 246 years of chattel slavery. And whereas on June 19th, 1866, 1 year after Major Granger's announcement, the freed African American men and women in the states of Texas held the first Juneteenth, or African American Independence Day celebration. And Juneteenth celebrations would later spread to all corners of the country. And whereas we acknowledge the evils of slavery and its aftermath, and whereas we acknowledge African American contributions and achievements within this community, both past and present, and whereas during this Juneteenth event, we celebrate our African American community members, and whereas we commit to working together towards equity for all in expanding economic, educational, and career opportunities for everyone in our community, June 19th will be the Juneteenth Day in the city of Issaquah, and I encourage all residents to eliminate prejudice everywhere and join me in this celebration. I also wanted to give the council and the community an update on the Issaquah Community Vaccine Partnership. In conjunction with President Biden's goal to vaccinate 70% of Americans by the 4th of July, the U.S. Conference of Mayors announced last week a month of action with the White House and Department of Health and Human Services to increase vaccinations in cities across the country. Mayors across the country are participating in a mayor's challenge to increase vaccination rates and ensure equitable access to the vaccine by mobilizing their communities to do their part and get involved. I have signed on to that challenge and commit to continuing outreach and education on vaccine safety and why it's important for Issaquah residents to do our part to help stop the pandemic. Meanwhile, the Snoqualmie Tribe Vaccine Partnership continues to administer second dose vaccines at Lake Sammamish State Park. As vaccines are now widely available in our communities, mass vaccination sites like ours will begin to close once the second doses are completed later this month. I am so grateful for our team and volunteers for this massive undertaking to vaccinate 15,000 of our community members. I have a short strategic plan update as well. It's been 2 years since we adopted our Issaquah, the city's first strategic plan. And as we mark this anniversary, we're looking back to celebrate what has been accomplished and sharing our plans moving forward. While we continue to pursue the goals that our community prioritized 2 years ago, unforeseen challenges have also emerged, including the pandemic. We have made meaningful strides toward our desired outcomes, but we know that important work remains to be done. Our plan is based on a plan, do, check, and adjust cycle to ensure that there is a focus on continuous improvements and that the actions, objectives, and goals are in alignment with the current conditions and community priorities. Starting this week, we will be sharing our accomplishments from the past 2 years with the community via videos, social media, and a postcard, and asking for their feedback as we look ahead to 2022 and beyond. The City Council will also review the results of our recent community survey during its June 15th meeting, and then hold a strategy and budget planning workshop on July 13th. And you can learn more at issaquah.gov/ourissaquah about our strategic plan and our process. That concludes the Mayor's report, and we're going to move into the next item on our agenda this evening, which is informational updates.